Well, hi there, folks. I think it's come time to post this one. I've been kind of putting it off because of the subject matter, but I've been also praying about it for the past couple of weeks as to when I should be uploading it and what exactly I should be saying on this particular video, because it does or it can get pretty graphic, and it is a pretty horrible time in the history of mankind, that being the tribulation, and those that are left behind, how many are left behind, and what will be happening to those left behind. And the visions that I've seen of it are pretty horrible. But I won't get into any details, but I will just talk about everything in general. The main reason I don't want to get into any details is there may be some people who see this that are left behind that do take the mark of the beast, and it'll be giving them ideas. But anyway, let's get on with it. As you know, in a previous video, I had posted that the Lord is going to be removing, during the rapture, not only his main flock, but also his other flock. And out of those, I believe that half the planet will be taken up during the rapture. That out of the 7 billion people, there are now 3.5 billion will be taken in the rapture event that happens. There will be the main flock, Jesus' servants, you wise virgins, you servants of the Lord, you prayer warriors out there. You will be a minority amongst the group. The other flock are the ones that are poor in spirit, are the children, and those that are destitute, those that are mentally and physically challenged. They will also be taken. But you can watch that other video for more details. Anyway, so those that are left behind, there will be 3.5 billion people in the tribulation. Now, in order to whittle that down, we can take out what I've seen in other visions is 500 million people will be the martyrs, and they will be the lazy Christians, the self-centered Christians, the selfish Christians who are left behind. And they will be gathered up during the tribulation, and they will be put in those internment camps that are placed all over the face of the planet. So we can take them out of the picture in terms of those that are going to be left behind. And we know, thanks to the Georgia Guidestones, that the One Worlders want a total controllable global population of 500 million, 500 million people will be accepting the number of the beast. So we can take those out of the total number, which leaves 2.5 billion people in the tribulation. And we can take out 1 billion of those will be the Israelites, the Jewish nation. The Lord has a separate timeline for them, and we'll be dealing with them on a separate issue, apart from the one worlders in the tribulation. So that leaves 1.5 billion people in the tribulation. And from the other visions that I've seen, there's going to be about 500 million, 500 million people are going to be dying or slaughtered during the first 3 months after the rapture. Because as you know, the world is reduced to the Stone Age. There's no electricity. People have to make their own fires any way they can in order to survive. And because of that, it'll be a dog-eat-dog world. It'll be survival of the fittest. It'll be the most violent people are the ones that are going to come out on top, which means most of the population in the cities and in the small towns, if they have food, if they have shelter, but they don't have any defensive capabilities, they're going to be wiped out. So those people who have guns, those people who are extremely violent, will be looting all the houses. Once the grocery stores are all looted during the first week or so, after that, still in darkness, the world is going to be in darkness. So those who are the strongest will prey on the weakest. And those people will be the ones who are slaughtered. So there will be about 500 million that are slaughtered by each other, as well as by the military police that are roaming the streets, just shooting people at random, because again, they want to depopulate the planet. The One Worlders want a total global population of 500 million. So that means there will be about 1 billion people, 1 billion non-believers that are going to be interned in the various concentration camps around the world. In North America, they'll be the FEMA camps. In other parts of the world, South America, Asia, Australia, Africa, they will have their own kinds of concentration camps. And in them, there will be both Christians and non-Christians. And so throughout the world, there will be 1 billion non-Christians that will be slaughtered, as well as the 500 million martyrs, the Christian martyrs that will be slaughtered. But the Christian martyrs have their own ritualistic form of death. They're going to be beheaded in a ritualistic way, whereas the non-Christians, they are being kept for... Okay, and this is the part that I'm hesitant about, because it gets very graphic and it gets very horrible. The visions that I've seen about what's going to be happening to the non-believers is pretty horrible. And they are going to be slaughtered. They are put in the concentration camps because the one-worlders are keeping them for a number of reasons. One, when they die, along with the Christian martyrs that die, their internal organs are going to be harvested. So all the dead people in the concentration camps, they will have their body parts harvested, as well as their internal organs harvested. And the corpses themselves, not only of those in the concentration camps, but those around the world too, will be taken to factories where they will be turned into food. Yes, food. And I'll get into that a little bit later. And so these televised death games that the non-believers will have to be put through, the one-worlders are going to revive the Roman Colosseum with their own form of gladiators, with their own form of weapons, swords and spears and various other things. The non-believers are going to be put to death like that in a live Roman Colosseum type game. As well as on TV, there's going to be pseudoscience demonstrations. You've seen in the past there are TV shows about warrior versus warrior, and they demonstrate the various weapons from the various cultures and various centuries, as well as there was a show about the history of torture devices, as well as shows where they just demonstrate various myths, and they have what are those practice dummies, and they use pig carcasses in order to demonstrate these various devices. That's going to be happening in real life using real people. They'll be demonstrating torture devices and various weapons and styles of fighting and things like that with live people. And the other visions that I've seen, there are going to be pay-per-death TV shows. It'll be like a game show, but they'll have people there that are just there as the prize. And the prize is that someone gets to phone in and they get to choose the method of death for that particular person. Because the people that are dying are the ones who don't want to accept the mark of the beast. And it's not only the Christians. Some of the Christians will be dying that way, but most of them will be dying in their ritualized beheadings, either with some guy with a large sword or in the guillotines, depending on what part of the world they are. The Christians will be dying by beheading, whereas the non-Christians will be saved for these live death games. And one of the death games, pay-per-death TV shows, as well as movie and TV shows when they have those chase scenes, when people are getting shot and stabbed or thrown from various buildings onto the ground, or when they're run over by vehicles or hit by vehicles. What used to be stuntmen, what used to be these fake bodies and stuff like that, they're going to be using real people for that sort of thing. And so the TV shows and the movies are going to be basically snuff programs. They're going to be showing live people dying, live people getting killed. And I'm not going to go into details about that. But there will also be TV shows where they show live torturings. Again, people will be able to call up, or they will have a history of torture. They will be reviving those torture devices from the Inquisitions, and they will be showing people being tortured live. And there will be games like you see on that the movie series Saw. I don't recommend you see it because it's pretty awful. But there will be events like that where people will be in particular kind of devices that will mutilate their bodies and kill them in various horrible ways. And lastly, there will be TV shows that are all about cannibalism. Because the people who accept the mark of the beast, not only will they be sexually violated when they get the mark, but they will also get their own personal demon. So they will be demon possessed. So these particular people who are in the one world during the final days of tribulation, when they get the mark of the beast, they're not going to be regular people. They're going to be the super evil people because they will have demons in them. So they won't have a problem seeing other people killed. And even when they're in their homes and in their cities, again, they won't have a problem with family violence. They won't have a problem with death because they are the most evil, wicked, and perverse people around. But he still loves them, even though they have wandered out of his flock, even though that they've chosen to ignore him and to become those who are left behind, those people who are not the Jews, those people who are not the martyrs, all those ones left behind after the rapture. They're going to be the Bible bashers, the church smashers, the Christ punchers, the God haters, the Holy Spirit blasphemers, the agnostics, those who have expressed in their lives and they promote a godless world. They make God look bad. They make the church look bad. They make the Bible look bad. They make Jesus look bad. Those are the people that are going to be left behind. And as bad as their times are, the Father still loves them because they are his children, even though they are the most spoiled brats of children, because they are the God haters. They're the ones who've turned their back on God intentionally and willfully. But they will get what their actions have deserved. They will experience the consequences of all their choices during the tribulation. And if that means the one-worlders and Satan and his demons are going to whittle them down through various kinds of slaughterings, sadly, it's going to happen. So now that I got that out of my system, now that I got it out of my head, I can start praying about and making videos about the greater things in God's kingdom. So this is another call for a petition for you wise virgins out there, for you faithful servants, and for you prayer warriors. Continue the prayer petition and get other people involved in it, and pray to the Lord that the God Almighty will have mercy on all his children on the face of the planet, that he will increase and maximize the number of those taken during the rapture in order to minimize the number of those left behind. I feel that there's going to be a revival coming, and there will be even more people coming into the kingdom, and there will be even more people in the other flock that will hear the voice of Jesus, and they will live their lives that way, and some of them will even recognize his voice. So that's it, my fellow servants out there. Stay in prayer, take care, and stay in the Word. Jesus will be here sooner rather than later. And we'll see you in Jesus' kingdom somewhere over there, or maybe even somewhere up in the air. So take care. Be a blessing wherever you are in internet land and YouTube world. Jesus rules.